1998. Now, taking another trip down memory lane here, I've made a couple of videos where I talked about video games that I tried to make as a kid, and I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, I used to do the same thing. But how many of you used to play video games outside via your imagination, so to speak? Though, when I was a kid, my neighbor and I, who I think he was like 2.5 years younger than me, we like pretty much grew up together, and we used to play outside all the time. Basically, we played everything, like, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, Batman, X-Men, Men in Black, Star Wars, you name it, we played it outside. But we also played video games outside. Basically, what it was with these types of things is we pretty much fought the air, because we used our imaginations. So, trying to think back to some of the stuff that we used to play out there. I remember one of the earliest ones I remember, I don't remember which came first or something, so I'm going to kind of mix it up a bit. One of the earliest I remembered was, Robert came over, and then my brother Aaron and his friend Mike, which we literally know like 30 different Mikes. This is one that he's known for like 25 years. The four of us were outside, and we were playing something kind of like Final Fantasy, or like a adventure Final Fantasy type of thing. We each made up our own characters. I was basically Locke from Final Fantasy VI, because this was probably like the mid-90s or something. That game came out in like the fall of '94. So this was... Anyway, so I was basically Locke from Final Fantasy VI, but I was a cat, and I had a scythe, because I used to have a bunch of hockey sticks, one of which my cousin, who I think is like 10 years older than me, he used to, because he was all about street hockey back in the day, and he made like hockey sticks for all the kids and stuff. So there was one I had from him, then I had a couple more that came with like a set. But anyways, what I did was I took the hockey stick and I held it like upwards, so the part that hits the puck was like kind of like this. So it, I was like, oh, here, I got a scythe. I remember Aaron was a character like Valdo from Soul Edge, which, see, there was Soul Edge for the PS1. I don't think the game was out at the time. It was he probably read about it in a game magazine or something, but there was Soul Edge for the PS1, and then Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast was the sequel. And then they kind of just ran with that, Soul Calibur 2, Soul Calibur 3, etc., and it became a multi-plat game. Mike was a knight with like red armor, and Robert was a character like Luke Skywalker, same idea or something, I guess. But fortunately, my mom had a lot of land. Well, actually, she still does, like a lot of land. So we had a lot of woods, and there's like a swamp and everything that we were just kind of wandering around and stuff. And I remember there used to be a tree that was shaped kind of like a Y. It got destroyed a number of years ago because there was like a really bad hurricane here in Massachusetts. But anyway, while we were playing this outside, there was this huge mushroom next to the tree. Robert kicked it, and the spores, like hundreds of spores, went flying everywhere. It was hilarious. I don't remember too much else about that, but another game that him and I used to play outside all the time was Doom. I had a bunch of squirt guns, like they were shaped like kind of like space blasters or something. So we would use that for the pistol. And then the hockey sticks were everything else. The shotgun, the chain gun, the rocket launcher, etc. And one time, because my brother, who was... he's 6 years older than me, and he was obviously taller than us at the time. So he was like, oh, why don't I come out with you guys, and I'll be the cyber the cyber demon. And then he played, not hard, obviously, like, play, but it was, like, hard enough, like... Well, not like that, but like he like play punched Robert in the stomach, and it was like enough that it was like Robert was like, he's like, you just made me fat. That was funny. What else was it? I know we played other things that we'd played like very briefly was like things like Duke Nukem, Contra, specifically Contra 3 because we didn't really. That was the one we were most familiar with. I remember we played Metal Gear a little bit. Like, it was most of these things. Resident Evil was another one. These were ones we only played like a little bit. We didn't play them as much as a lot of the other ones that I'm mentioning. I remember this one I think we did a number of times over and over because of all the new games that kept coming out in the 90s, was Mortal Kombat. And this had to have been at least 97 or 98, because it was after the fourth game and the second movie, because both of those came out in '97. And so I remember I was playing as Liu Kang, and because that was always one of my favorite characters. Robert was Raiden, and I think his dad was cleaning out their shed, and he found like an old croquet set. So because, like I said, the fourth game was the newest one at the time, and all the characters had weapons. Raiden had like the hammer. So Robert took one of the croquet mallets. And I was like, oh look, it's the hammer from Raiden's hammer. And then he also took one of the goalpost things to represent the lightning staff. A funny thing was, my mom's house, it has like, there's an upper deck porch, and then there's like, how the hell can I explain this? There's like the upper deck porch, and then the stairs are kind of on the side, and then there's a roof there, and then like an upper part, and then another roof up above. But then on the roof, in the wintertime, there was always icicles hanging, like especially huge ones that would, at times. So it was definitely the wintertime, one of the times that Robert and I were playing Mortal Kombat outside. I don't think it was snow on the ground, but there was definitely icicles on the roof. And we came up with the idea. I was like, oh, Motaro was chasing us. So then we ran up onto the top of the porch and knocked the icicles down and impaled him. Well, not really. It was our imagination, but yeah. Excuse me a sec. We also played Tomb Raider was another one we played outside, or I don't think it was specifically Tomb Raider, but I think it was something like it. Like an adventure type of thing. Funny, I don't think we played too many Nintendo things out there, but I'll get to that later. Another one I just remembered. I'll get to that in a second too, after the Tomb Raider one. The thing with the Tomb Raider, this was a lot of fun, because I remember I had these, you know how you can get like different shapes for bubbles, like different like funny toys and shapes and stuff. I had one that was shaped like a set of keys. Like it had like a big key ring and then 5 big keys with all the different holes in it, because you'd use it to make bubbles and stuff. So what we would do was we're like, oh, we need these 5 keys to open the tomb to this ancient, the door to this ancient tomb or something. So it was like, we would take all the 5 different keys, and like I said, we lived in a very wooded area. We'd set one of the keys up in a tree, put another one like under a rock, and just things like that. Might dig a little hole to put another one in and stuff like that. In reality, it was all in the neighborhood, but I think the way we did it was like they were hidden around the world or something. That was a lot of fun. And the other one I just remembered was God, I think I've said this before, but Robert used to have King of the Monsters 2 for the Super Nintendo, and we were absolutely obsessed with that game. We played that like religiously. So we actually played it outside one time. I know the robot gorilla. His name was Cyber Woo. That was always Robert's favorite character. Mine was Super Gion, or whatever his name is, the like dragon guy. So I was playing as him. Robert was Cyber Woo, and because like when you beat the stage, like, and the characters do like the pose, so it's like Robert and I were doing that after we beat the frog guy. I was going like Robert was going. It was just a funny thing. I remember doing that. We were fighting the second boss outside with our imaginations. I was like, oh, I got a fight coming. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna. He's like, no, I know what it was. I didn't say that. I was like, oh, I'm gonna hit him with my special attack. And I was like, oh, that sucked or something. I don't know, it did that much life to him. Robert's like, no, it did that much damage to him. It took that much of his life away. I don't know why I forgot about that. Well, until now. What were some of the other ones? Because there's one that I'm saving for last. Because that was like towards the end of when we were doing this. I feel like there was more. I guess not. But yeah, those were like some of the more ones that I definitely wanted to talk about. That I remember the most. Another one, the one that we played probably towards the end, because it was Pokemon. And the reason that was towards the end was because, well, we started with like Gen 1, and we kind of rebooted a number of times. Like, oh, let's go back to the beginning and start over. Let's start over. And then when Gen 2 came out, with, the Johto region, we did it with that as well. But at that point, somewhere during the time of playing Gen 2 outside, or Johto or whatever, we were starting to go through changes, if you know what I mean. We're outgrowing the stuff that we used to do, like playing outside. We were, like I said, we're going through changes. You guys want to go play some baseball? Yeah, I'm going to go masturbate. Anyway, but I actually talked about this in another video, but there's two things that I thought was a really cool idea that we did at the time. This was more for the Gen 1, didn't really happen with Gen 2, but I thought I'd talk about them again, because that was like almost 3 years ago that I talked about the story, and yeah. Anyway, the thing was, well, two things that are important. One, we had made up our own characters. My character's name was Jin. I got the name from Tekken. I forget the name of his character. We made up like a few other characters too. Like I remember, like, you know, we had like different comrades and allies and things like that. I remember I had one that was I made a kid that was like a baseball fan. So whenever he threw a Pokeball at a Pokemon, he'd hit it with a bat. Like, and where was I? Oh yeah. So like I said, we made up our own characters. Like we had our own little group, and then we bumped into like Ash and company, who were in the middle of their journey. You know, this was during Gen 1. And the other thing that was that, because we were just using our imagination, we were like, you know what? No rules. Screw it. We're gonna get rid of the 6 limit rule, even though in reality that would be impossible. But whatever. We're using our imagination. Like, go Charmander. God, it's hot as hell in here. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. One of the ideas was that one of them was like an idea of his, and then the other one was one that I really kind of expanded upon. I mean, it was both of these were ideas of his. The second one I kind of expanded upon. The first one was basically a whole bunch of, like, you know, hundreds of Pokemon fused together to make a giant chimera-like Pokemon, probably like 20 feet tall. It was like, not the type of chimera that's like, you know, that has the 3 different heads, like usually a lion, a serpent, and a bird, but the type of chimera that has like the different body parts of a different animal. Like in this case, it had, I remember, because I drew the picture of it, I think I still have it somewhere, but the notebook's probably buried somewhere. But it had the body of Bulbasaur, the head of Blastoise, the arms of Scyther, the tail of Charmander, and the legs of Marowak. And I think we had just like fought it like or something. But one of the other ideas was, like I said, this was an idea of his, and then I kind of just expanded upon it. It was because, well, first of all, we were attacked by like Team Rocket, not like the one from the show, but like it was almost like the episode of the Battle Aboard the St. Anne. It was a whole, let's say about 30 or 40 members of Team Rocket grunts, and like I said, because we didn't have the limit, let's say each of these grunts had, I don't know, 20-something Pokemon. So you do that times like 40, you know, and against like Robert and I, whatever his character's name was, our group was probably like, I don't know, 5 people. So it's like, you know, plus Ash's group, you know, it was maybe about 8 of us or something. So it was like, oh great, we're screwed now. So that was when I came up with the idea. I was like, what if like everybody that Ash met in his journey came back to help and even the odds? So it was, let's see, the Samurai from Viridian Forest, the other gym leaders, with the exception of Giovanni, of course, because he's the leader of Team Rocket. Misty's sisters, the Seymour, the scientist guy from the Mount Moon, the Kangaskhan kid, that kid with the Sandshrew that controls it with the crack of the whip, like a, you know, like uses the sound of the whip. Duplica, the girl with the Ditto. Who else was there? Gary, of course. Well, you get the picture, but that was, like, I thought it was a lot of fun when we did that. But yeah, those were some of the things that Robert and I used to play outside when we were kids, you know, based off video games. Did you guys do the same thing? If so, what were some of the games you loved to play outside? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.